To all of my fans who are watching here on Rappler, hello! Hi everybody! Yung
Here.
pagiging martir, that
Yeah.
kind of love,
Yeah.
which I would not ever advocate for anybody, because that's just
Crazy.
it's a different kind of it's a kind of suicide where you put your own welfare aside for someone else that clearly does not have the same kind of pagtingin or pagmamahal for you. Because love is two-way. When it's one way, that's just not a fair exchange or the correct exchange for love. And here, playing the goddess of love, I think being in my 40s actually is what informs how I play the role much more than other roles that I have played, informing this. I mean, my entire life experience, I think, is what informs how I play this. And I think I've said this to one of my other colleagues at work, that that playing a role like this requires someone that has lived life and has seen love in so many of its forms. I mean, you can be a young person and do it, sure, and be able to sing the song and be able to sing the entire score. But to have been able to live and see just life and love in so many ways is ultimately what will do the most service to a part like this. Because love is not just romantic, it's filial, it's brotherly, it's friendship, it's love of country, it's love of one's industry and work and craft and art, it's love for people that you all don't always necessarily like, but being able to transcend the earthly and to be able to touch upon the divine. It's stuff like that. And I think it requires a less theoretical or kind of like cerebral viewpoint, and it takes one that is more practical and more grounded. So the first Urzuli I ever had or I ever saw was Menchu Lauchenko, and she was, I can't even remember how old she was when she first played the role, but I think she was either in her late 30s or early 40s already, which meant that she had already herself seen
She's
so many
great.
forms of love.
Yeah.
So,
She's so
it
sweet.
is, I know, so it is that. So it's her portrayal, I guess, that I first saw. It wasn't a young person's portrayal. It was her. It was somebody that had obviously been through so much already in her life and had played so many roles as well in her career. So how she colors that role kind of influences how I color this one. Aga and I have these conversations about what we're eventually going to do, and sometimes we'll arrive at a blank and be like, what hasn't been done as far as love stories, or does it even have to be a love story? What kind of movie should we
Can
do
be a story about love.
that, being the ages that we are, I'm like, hindi pwedeng pa-cute, man. It cannot
Yeah.
be something that it can't come across as insincere or fake. Because I'd like to think that our fans are smart enough to
For sure.
smell insincerity a mile away.
For
it has
sure.
to be something that's right for us as actors and for us as people. And we've already played two young people in love. So I guess when the right project comes, or when we have this great idea,
Be here
I
until
have to go home
June,
at some
July.
point. I mean, I have to go home. I have gigs already lined up from July.
Okay.
So I gotta go home.
That
I have to
includes-
take care of my family, home being
Right.
Manila.
Yeah.
And I have work to do.
That
So
includes-
my season here will end just after the Tonys. But we'll see. I mean, everything is going to be always in flux, and we'll see what my schedule looks like. We'll see whatever stuff accommodates. I would like to have an open door to be able to come back to the show if I feel like I need to return. I mean, Miss Saigon always had an open door for me. when I was still young enough to play it, that I could always come back whenever I wanted to. And it took me 7 years after I left the show to be able to return, but I did. So yeah, so we'll see. But I'd like to be able to return if I feel like my spirit needs to revisit the show. Bye.